type in the comment section. Like Alright, I'll be starting any moment now. Welcome back. Please type in the comment section if you can hear me. Starting any moment. Please type in the comment section if you can hear me. Just type if you can hear me. Right. Welcome everyone to Business from Bible Perspective. We're starting any moment now. If you're not, if you're just coming online, please invite your friends, talk to your colleagues, let them know that we are online. Like I always say, the beauty of light is the ability it gives, all right? So the session for today is really powerful. It's a continuation of something I have taught before, not here, but as a host of one of the radio houses. I did a teaching and I want to expand a little on it. I trust God that God will give us deep insight and make our journey convenient and not difficult in Jesus' name. All right, so we dive into the topic. But before doing that, I want us to have a word of prayer. Father, more than anything, give us understanding. We are only as powerful as the measure of you we are able to comprehend, the more of you we consume, the less of worries we will have. I pray that God will give whoever is watching this video a deep insight to your word, that he will grow in character, in maturity, in leadership, and in understanding in Jesus' name. Give whoever is watching this video the testimony, the miracle of access, and the testimony that bets for belief. Help them to understand the power of humility and help them to understand the power of obedience. Thank you because you are faithful. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, so invite everyone to join. Today we are talking about a very interesting topic titled The Understanding of Faith. When we talk about the understanding of faith, what exactly are we talking about? I've done a teaching on faith before, but this time around, I want to add a little to it. If you attend business from Bible perspective, then you are supposed to listen to the teaching I did on faith on radio, right? Usually we share the link every Friday, 7 p.m. Nigerian time, on Dukia Radio, I'm live for 30 minutes teaching very interesting topic. And today I want to add a little to what I taught, just so that the understanding of the viewer can be massively empowered. Invite your friends to like this channel, to like this handle. The only way you can grow in God is to be liberal with what He has given to you. All right. There are things He shares with you that are meant to be private, and there are things that He shares with you that are meant to be for the people, for the edification of the body. It means whatever edifies the body is not yours alone, it's for the body. You must share. The Bible now said, the liberal soul shall be made fat, and he that watereth shall be watered as well. It means if you spend time doing God's assignment, He spends His time taking care of you. All right. What that means is, as an employer, I will give my best to the staff that gives his or her best to my course. So it means whoever promotes the agenda of my business the most will get the most of my attention and the most of my resources. You understand what that means? So it means systems are designed to respond more to contributors. Systems are designed to respond more to contributors. So it means the more you are able to contribute, the more you're able to walk away with. So whoever is selfless, whoever takes my business as if it were his own and pushes my business from one level to another, just the way my business will change level, that is how that person's life will change level. Because whoever agrees to work with you, it means there's a dimension of you that makes provision for their need. I hope you guys understand what that means. So a dimension of you makes provision for their need, which is why they submit to you in service and obedience, so that that dimension of them is addressed. In return, they promote your business to the next level. So it means if you have nothing to offer, you will always be at the mercy of men. It is very dangerous to be at the mercy of a man, because men are not liberal with mercy. God is liberal with mercy. Men are not. Men rarely even forgive. So it means whatever you do in life, never bring yourself to the point where you are at the mercy of another man. I hope you guys are understanding what I'm saying. Sorry. So it means if you're going to grow, if you're going to be relevant, if you're going to become who you are designed to be, you must first pay attention to what you can contribute, what role you can play in order to move the vision from one phase to another. That's why today's topic is really important. Look, this is business from Bible perspective. And like I always say, if your mindset is right, everything about you will be right. If your mindset is right, everything about you will be right. Mr. Prosper, you can post the link on the ICFX page as well. Let them know we are live, and it's important they follow and join whatever it is we're doing. Okay, many of them on weekdays are very active with whatever we're doing because they get to make money from what we are saying. But when we come to moments like this where the real character and mindset for wealth is built, they shy away from those things. And it speaks to how far a man can go when he's not making himself available to the informations that can transform. All right, that he may be renewed by the transforming of your mind. So it means if you are not transformed, things don't change around you. No matter how much you've made on a weekly basis, no matter how much you make from what we do during our financial class, if your mind is not transformed, you are still in one place. Progress is not how much you made. Progress is how much you've been transformed, because there's a dimension of you there's a dimension of you that can access a particular office, that can be assigned with a particular responsibility. And that dimension of you can only be attained through growth. All right. So, and the only way you can grow is by hearing and understanding the principles that make for life and godliness. All right, so let's dive deeply into the topic now. We're talking about understanding the concept of faith. So when we talk about faith, what are we talking about? You see, I used to have a friend in the time past. He was quite amazing with, faith, confessions, and all of those. And he would like, I see myself having this. All right. So he said, when you profess, when you confess it, when you believe for it, it will naturally come to pass. That is not the wrong teaching. That is very right, right? But there's something that needs to be added to your confession. There's something that needs to be added to your belief. There's something that needs to be added to your profession. Otherwise, you will keep confessing. You see, it is amazing how two people believe for something. One gets it easily, and the other one is still trusting and hoping. What's the difference between the one that got it and the one that is still waiting? Why is it that it looks like in this particular kingdom, it looks like God is partial? All right, because it's crazy how you pray for something and then now you have to go and meet somebody else that you believe if he were the one that prayed for it, it will happen. Then you go and meet the person and then the person prays. And just like you said, it now comes to pass. So what happens to you? Why is your prayer not working? Why is your confession not carrying weight? Why is the spirit not responding? Why is physical things not attracted or being attracted by your confession? These are things that we must naturally address, because if the concept of faith is not properly understood, even the body of Christ will be frustrated at some point. Because you get to realize that it looks like out of every 10,000, only one person gets lucky with these things we're talking about. Out of every 10,000, only one person gets lucky, whatever it is we're talking about. And if you move at that pace, and if we move at that pace, then you get to realize that maybe let the few just assess and enjoy whatever it is that's working for them. Why must it be them alone? All right. So if you understand what we're about to talk about now, then I believe to a very large extent, your mindset will be right and things will begin to respond to you. So we're talking about understanding the concept of faith. So to understand faith better, we'll need to read from the Bible. Our text is Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1. The Bible now said, now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of what we cannot see. I'll read it again. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, Let me get another translation. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of what is not seen. So when you underline, let's just stick with King James Version. When you look at that passage, let me bring it closer here. When you look at this passage here, in the definition of faith, there is a substance. It means faith requires something that you can present for an evidence. Okay, so it means if you say you have faith that this is going to happen, there have to be a substance you have to present for an evidence. So in the court of law now, you'd realize that however right you are, whoever presented the evidence ends up winning the case. People are not moved by your confession, they are moved by what they see. So it means if people are moved by what they see, then you must present a substance that makes for an evidence. So it means you are not yet the billionaire that you said you are going to become, but there is a substance that you must show me right now that proves as an evidence that you actually can become those things. I hope you guys are getting what I'm saying. So when you say that I am in the next 10 years, I know who I am going to be. And when I ask you questions like, okay, so who are you going to be? I will be a real estate tycoon. I'm going to be this, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that. Look, things don't just respond because you said it. There's a version of you that attracts things. Take note of this. Until you are transformed through growth, most of the things you confess, it is not impossible. Those things, it's not like God is limited by resources to respond to what you are confessing. It is that you've not grown to the version of you that can manage what you are asking for. I hope you guys get what I'm saying now. So it means in the next 10 years, I'm going to be a real estate this, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that, I'm going to that. That's great. If you are going to be all of the things that you say you want to be, then what substance can I see right now that makes one evidence that you are going to become that person? Sorry, our power will be coming back any moment. Just follow me. So what substance do you have that shows or makes that shows that by evidence you are going to become all of the things that you say you are going to become? Now let's look at that concept of faith again. Say now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of what we cannot see. So when I say that we are talking about the evidence of what is not seen, so when I talk about the evidence of what we cannot see, please take note of this. If we're saying that Sorry, I have to use the mic. And to filter the noise from the background, I have to use this. So let me know if you can hear me. Please type in the comment section if you can hear me. Just type in the comment section. Just type in the comment section if you can hear me. Just type in the comment section if you can hear me. All right, so like we're saying, we're talking about faith. Sorry about that. I apologize deeply. All right, please let me know if you can hear me. Just quickly, we'll dive into the topic. So we're talking about faith. We now said faith is a substance of things hoped for, the evidence of what you cannot see. And in my explanation, I now said faith requires a substance. So it means if you say that you are, so when you say that you are a man of faith, or when you say that you are trusting for something, or when you say that by confession you are whatever that is you want to call it, they have to be an evidence that makes for a substance. So in talking about the concept of understanding faith, right? Because until this is properly established, you realize that your life naturally will be a struggle. And Hebrews chapter 11 verse 1 lays a foundation. So it means when I say that this man is a man of faith, the first thing I want you to take note of this: faith is not possible until there is a sponsorship. Take note of that. Faith is not possible until there is a sponsorship. So it means whoever sponsors your confession will determine whether or not that confession will find a manifestation. So it means when someone now says, I am trusting God for a car, who sponsors that confession? Because of your own, you can do nothing. So that's number 2. Take note of this. Faith requires sponsorship. Because of your own, you can do nothing. It means everything that makes for your confession is beyond you as an individual. Take note, everything that makes for your confession is beyond you as an individual. So it means if a man says, I have faith, faith is proof that you are not self-sufficient. Faith is proof that you are also expectant. Faith is proof that you are also a man in need. It means when you say this man is a man of faith, you need to understand that everything that makes for his confession is being sponsored from a dimension. Take note, point number 3. Your sponsorship must be greater than your request. Your sponsorship must be greater than your request. Imagine a child now, while other kids are saying, my dad said he's going to buy me a car, and I'll tell my dad to buy me a car. I know he will buy me a car, right? That's a positive confession. I know he'll buy me a car. Nice. And then this other young man now also joins them because he's trying to feel among, I know my dad too will buy me a car. There's a difference. For this other one, when he says, Dad, I need a car, 2 things will happen. If by physical maturity,
and by behavioral standard, he is up to date, the probability that the dad will give him what he's asking for is very high. For instance, I have a child, 18 years old. She's been doing well academically, morally, she's all right, wonderful person. And she comes to meet me with that kind of request. Immediately it's granted. Dad, I need a car. We go get that car and then life goes on for her already. But there's another child that goes to the dad and now says, I need a car. There's a problem there. By saying that I need a car, because the dad is not able to make that that provision available, because the dad is not able to make that kind of thing available, even though in his heart he wish he could. That's what I'm trying to say now. So take note, number 3, your sponsor must be greater than your request. I hope you understand what that means. So it means if your confession is not sponsored, then what you are is a man that brags, not a man of faith. A man goes for a crusade, right? We've seen these things happen many times. You know, we go for crusades, a man of God comes and says, in the name of Jesus, if you have cancer there, I command that cancer to go out. Now, of his own, he can't take away cancer. But because his confession is sponsored by a man, by the God that is greater than cancer, on his confession, that cancer goes. Why? Because whoever is your sponsor, whoever agrees to sponsor you, at least for his own sake and for the sake of his own integrity, he will stand to make sure that your words come to pass. Do you understand what that means now? So when the person says, you having cancer, I command the cancer to move, the person is not ordering the cancer to go out because he has a good word in his mouth. He's ordering that cancer to go out because his sponsor will make provision for the exit of that cancer. Whatever will get that cancer out, the sponsor that gives this person the confidence to make that confession naturally is the reason why that cancer left. So when you say this man of God is great, you need to know he is sponsored. When you say this politician is powerful, he is sponsored. Every man that looks out of the ordinary is a man that is sponsored from a dimension. So it means if the understanding of faith will be right, sponsorship must be introduced. Now, I did a video on TikTok, I think yesterday. I can't remember all that I said, but I know I said something about the Bible is not God. The Bible tells you about God. One of the disadvantage of, one of the challenge we as children of the free face, or one of the challenges we face, is that we have been trained to study this, but the person this is telling us about, we have not gone beyond the Bible to have an encounter with that person. Take note of this. Sponsorship does not come because your heart is pure. Sponsorship does not come because you are moral and you're a good person. Sponsorship does not come because you know so much about the person. Now, I was talking with my friend earlier today and I said, you know, a man that is merely just having such confession is equal to someone walking up to you on the street. Mr. Chris, nice to meet you. I've heard so much about you. Can I have 100,000 naira there? I will not give you 100,000 because you had so much and read so much about me. Please don't respond that way. Please take note of this. One of the reasons why it looks like some people have faith and the other people have read your word back to back over and over again, and it looks like nothing is working. Why is it that even me, I know I am even more spiritual than this other person, but you know, at the slightest confession, everything begins to work? There was a season where there was massive denial of visa at the embassy, and a student walked to my office, and you know, walking by the patterns and everything going on, I tried to let him know, okay, this season is very tough. He said, me, I know I will get it. And I said, fine. I don't have your kind of faith because I'm working with the parameters around me. And judging by the parameters and your academic and background and the fact that you've not been to school in a while and everything, I just don't see this thing working for you. And he said, I know that my faith, what, he said so many things, and he kept confessing it until I myself joined him in that belief system. And he said, others may be denied, but when I walk in there, the consular will not waste time with me. This person I'm telling you about is currently in the United States. It played out for him, but there's something I want you to get. If you are going to be a man of faith, you need to understand what faith really means. So you need to understand that before you call yourself a person of faith, you must first know. You must first have the sponsorship that takes care of your confession. Otherwise, keep quiet. You see, if your confession is not backed up by sponsorship, you have public embarrassment. A man goes somewhere, by this time next tomorrow, you are going to see 15,000, and all of us are waiting. You see, the good thing about humanity is they didn't force you to confess those things. But as soon as it slips out of your mouth, everyone will leave whatever it is they are doing, and they are waiting to see how this comes to pass. If it comes to pass, you see majority of people coming. If it fails, everyone takes on Twitter, false prophets everywhere. Even the young ones are, and then you now go back to your secret place, and you're like, Father, in your name I prophesied that this person is going to get this. Why didn't it work? Somebody is wondering, how does this relate with business? It relates. If your business will be right, the foundation needs to be good. Because if your mindset is not correct, look, no matter how much you have, take note of this. You cannot give increase to anything that comes to your space until you understand the office and the power of it. I'm a trader in the financial market. What gives me the guarantee that when I go into the market tomorrow, something will work? What gives me the guarantee that I can just open a platform and then I'll take a trade and it becomes profitable? Just the way it makes for profit, it could also make for a loss. So what gives me the courage to sit down and open the market, spend time there, believing that my week will be better than the week before? I hope you guys are getting what I'm saying. If you're hearing me, type in the comment section. If you've been blessed, type I am being blessed, and get what I am trying to bring out. This teaching is really, really powerful because I believe that it's going to transform something in your life. All right, so like I was saying, so for faith to be established, there must be a sponsorship. Now let's talk about sponsorship. Now I've said that your sponsor must be greater than your confession. It means whatever it is you expect, your sponsor must be worth more than it. So how do you build how do you acquire sponsorship? What does it take to have the right sponsor? Number one, humility. Number two, gratitude. Number three, most importantly, obedience. Number four, relationship. Are you understanding what I'm trying to say now? Relationship, obedience, gratitude, honor, or humility. If these things are missing, please take note. You want to write all of these things down. If these things are missing from the equation, don't go out to speak, because your confession will not be defended. There will be no defense, there will be no provision that gives expression to your confession, which means whatever it is you have said, there's no faith there. So you are not a man of faith because you prayed for 6 hours and you come out and you are, I know this is going to happen. No. Things are arranged in order. So to acquire sponsorship, take note of this. There are two kinds of sponsorship you need in order for everything you say to come to pass. Number one, the kingdom sponsorship. I'm talking about heavenly sponsorship. You must be sponsored by God. Why? Because God reveals you to men. You must be sponsored by God because God reveals you to men. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? It means if no matter how great you think you are, if men don't have a revelation of who you are still at a disadvantage. Men only respond based on the revelation that is made available to them. So it means if men can't see you, you can't have it. Why? Because men only work towards what they can see. It means a man that is not visible to men is a man that remains permanently in the realm of the spirit until men can see him. Everything that you are trusting God for is with another man. So it means if God does not make you visible to that man, there is no response. Things don't respond because you wish, you prayed, and you are you don't do that kind of thing. Look, there is an understanding that once you are able to acquire, you realize that your life is no longer a struggle. Everything becomes straightforward. Everything becomes straightforward. I hope you guys are understanding what I'm saying. So the first sponsorship you must have is the God sponsorship. Why? Because God makes you visible to men. The second sponsorship you must have is the men's sponsorship. Look, let me tell you this. No matter how powerful your idea is, no matter how powerful that business you want to run is, if men refuse to invest in it, that idea remains an idea. The number of men that are able to respond to your idea will determine how fast your idea will find expression in the realm of men. So the availability of men is what gives expression to your idea. There is never a transformation of idea. Your idea never transforms from one phase to another unless there are men available to make the resources necessary for such transformation available. And what resources are we talking about? Number one is time. Number two, skills. Number two, three, material things. Number four, the belief that makes for evangelism, which is marketing. The greatest department in any business is the department of marketing. Make disciples of men. So it means if you're going to start a business, the first thing you need is to build a team. Indoctrinate them with a belief to the point where even in your absence, there's a continuity to the idea. If you are not able to do this, forget it. Go and pray for 30 years and come back. You will not get anywhere. I guarantee you that. Because these are principles designed by God himself. So if there is going to be a change and transformation in your life, it begins with the proper understanding of what faith really means. Because if you finally understand what faith means, you realize that your life is no longer a struggle. I don't have to worry about things I've not grown to summon. Before I open my mouth to speak, I first examine myself. How much have I grown in God? Look, if in God I am still a child, God will not give me that which he will give an adult. Let's say you have a child 3 years old and that child needs a power bike. Even if you have the money to buy the power bike, will you give that power bike to the child? Because it means you are giving that child what will kill that child. If you love that child, your answer is no. Sometimes, most of the times, God's greatest gift to you is the gift of unanswered prayer. Why? Because every time he says no, he indirectly makes time available for you to grow so that you can acquire those things. Because until you grow to that dimension, you can't access it. Stop feeling as if you are destined to fail. You will not conquer the possibility. You didn't invest in yourself enough to become who God will work with. You didn't invest in yourself enough for God to say, I can give this thing to this guy, and I know he will make men out of it, and he will get people to follow me. Are you guys understanding what we're saying? We're talking about the concept of faith. So number one, you must be sponsored by God. Why? Because he makes you visible to men. Number Number two, you must be sponsored by men. Why? Because you need men to become visible. let me say that again. You need God's sponsorship because he makes you visible to men. You need men's sponsorship because without their sponsorship, you can't be visible. Why did I say that? Take note, I have said it many times. You want to write this down. Visibility is given to the man that is able to redeem time. Time is only redeemed when men are available to give it. Who talked about you is how you became popular. The more the people that talk about you, the more popular you become. So it means when people talk about you, they are donating time in publicity. So the more the number of time you're able to get in marketing, the more visible you become. How many people can you, in fact, if you have to open your mouth to tell people about yourself, they wouldn't even trust you. It's easy for men to work with you when the testimony came from another person. So take note of this. It means if you are a selfish person, you can't find visibility. Because if another person will have to talk about you, you have to give that person the testimony that makes for the belief. That's why the Bible said the liberal soul shall be made fat. So it means when you learn to invest in men, men will learn to invest back through marketing and publicity. I hope you guys are understanding what we're saying. We must understand the concept of faith. So what are we now saying? Take note. Now, to have the God sponsorship, the first thing you must do is to spend time with him, which takes us to the place of prayer. If you're spending time with God, prayer is defined as spending time with God enough to hear what he has to say about the subject matter. That is the best definition of prayer you can ever have. Spending time with God enough to hear what he has to say about a subject matter. You want to have the God sponsorship? Great. Let me teach you how to have the God sponsorship. Number one, spend time with him. Number two, know him through his word. Because the one thing that is greater than he himself is his own word. He has exalted his word above his name. So it means if his word is exalted above his name, then my greatest advantage will be this. Are you understanding what we're saying now? So it means if God didn't say it, he is not obligated to defend it. Whenever you go to confess what God did not authorize, whenever you go to profess what is not written, then understand that God is quiet and watching you there. God is never embarrassed, because if God didn't say it, it is you that will be embarrassed. So in order to build the God sponsorship, one, you must, number one, study. Number two, find access. So in the place of prayer, spend time with him enough to the point where he begins to speak. Because if everything that you do is what he said, you will never be wrong. And the moment you begin to obey everything that he is saying, he will begin to trust you enough to defend you in public places. So before he can defend you in the public, you have to show him that you are a child of obedience. Because disobedience is like the sin of witchcraft. If you don't do what he is saying, he can't defend you in the public. I hope you understand what that means. Because once this is established, gradually, you get to realize that Abraham may have existed in a dispensation, but he tasted grace before we tasted it. So when you have these things together, take note, it must come together to bet what we call relationship. Until I have a relationship with you, I can't defend you. understand? Defending you is not compulsory. Relationship is the only thing that will make me go into that dimension of sacrifice. It's called relationship. So it means I am driving somewhere and the police people decide to harass me on the highway. I pick my phone and I call a military general and say, I'm General so and so, please let him go. He's my son. What do you think happened? I could easily have called any other person to understand that he's not even ready to entertain that conversation. The only way he will put his integrity on the line is when through relationship he knows that even though the police people are holding me on the highway, he knows I am not the kind of person that they should hold on the highway. Only relationship can do that. Because by defending me without the knowledge of who I am, his integrity will be at stake. It means he has more to lose. So it means men would only defend you when they have enough knowledge of you that makes provision for the safety of their integrity. Are you guys understanding what we're saying? Then we now talk about the realm of men. Sponsorship by men. The easiest way to have the sponsorship of a man, take note of this. Number one is to create a belief system. Because how men see you is your responsibility. So to have the man sponsorship, you must walk in accordance to Colossians chapter 4 verse 6. Colossians 4:6 says, let your speech be always with grace. It means if you are going to find yourself in the presence of a man that you believe have grown to the point where you will need him in your life, take note of this. How that man perceives you is not God's responsibility, it's your responsibility. It means if your relationship with God is solid, but in the realm of men you have not grown to understand the principles that make for earthly relevance, even God will be quiet. Because when you look at Daniel chapter 1, the Bible said Daniel was 10 times better. Grow to the point where kings seek you. It means if you if you possess the wisdom that kings seek, understand that you would always have the attention of kings and the defense. So the kind of people that seek you is a testimonial to how much you have grown. Who is listening to what you are saying? When you find yourself before a politician, what do you have to say? When you find yourself before a business person, what do you have to say? When you find yourself before a married man, what do you have to say? When you find yourself before a Christian, what do you have to say? When you find yourself in the society, not general whatever, what do you have to say? When you find yourself in the academic system, what do you have to say? Take note of this. If you are not well developed in each of these branches, it means there's still a limitation to how far you can. There's a limit to how far you can go. Now, please take note. Whoever will sponsor you is already ahead of you. He's not going to sponsor you because he needs something from you. He's sponsoring you because he has a revelation of you that is worthy of his sponsorship. Why? Because by sponsoring you, he's securing his tomorrow. So if you do not look like someone that will secure his tomorrow, he will not waste his resources on you. And the easiest way to look like the person that will secure his tomorrow is to show him how much you are growing. Do you guys understand what we are saying? You want to have the sponsorship of men? I went for a business meeting with my friend one time in Lagos, a very powerful meeting. That meeting was, in the meeting, the person was going to, I think, release 70 million for a particular project. And then he was building a trading house and needed me to ahead the entire trading system, was investing tens and tens and tens of millions there. And we're having profitable conversation. And then the friend I took along to escort me because he knew the place, but the friend could not control his mouth. He wanted to show that he knew something, and he kept talking and talking and talking and talking to the point where the other man on the other side, like, wow, I don't think I would like to work with this person. Be careful who you carry along, because how they perceive you is your responsibility. If he had kept his mouth shut, that business deal would have gone down properly. But because he wanted to show he is also someone, he wanted to advertise his childishness on my platform, I was also perceived as a child, and as such I couldn't be trusted with such resources. And I learned a very big lesson. Who you permit into your life is your responsibility. You must vet every man and make sure that they stand and will stand to defend who you are becoming and everything that you stand for. Be careful with the kind of people you work with. Even children, look, you are not matured because you are old. Fools grow old as well. There are people that the only thing that mature in their life is their number, the number of years they are spending on it. Because when they open their mouth to speak, you will know that this is a child wearing the suit of an old man. Be careful with who you carry along. Make sure that the people in your circle, look, let me tell you this. People will blackmail you and say you are proud. There are 7 billion people in the world. If they choose to feel that way, look around. There are other people you can replace them with. It is not pride. A man that is not investing in himself, a man that does not even love himself enough to invest in himself, is not worthy of your friendship. Keep him among the masses you will bless when you get at the top. Because if you carry him along, you will not get to the top. I don't call you friend because we grew up together. No. If I don't have a revelation of who you are becoming, you don't have access to my time. My time on earth is so short that I have to give it to people that matter. Why? Because when I give it to people that matter, I will matter. And when I matter, I will have what it takes to give the other people the bread that they seek. Because when a man relegates himself to the realm of bread, be careful with that man. He will eat your seed. He will bake your seed and eat it for bread, and you will be stranded. Do you guys understand what we are saying? We're talking about the men's sponsorship, but we are really talking about the concept of faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of what is not seen. So, number one, if how men see you, right, is your responsibility. And for men to see you right, take note of this. If you perceive that this man will be helpful to you in the future, but this current version of you may not be able to summon him in that capacity, don't visit that person yet. Go and grow. Number two, what does it take to have the men's sponsorship? You must accept that no matter how far that man has gone, he is also in need on a daily basis. Every man is in need, no matter how far they have gone. Because if men need men, it's because men are still in need. Even the billionaire still needs someone. If you think you don't need men, you will clean your toilet. If you think you don't need men, you will cook your food. If you think you don't need men, you will wash your clothes. If you feel you are so rich that you don't need anybody, how about the person that clears your garden? Take note of this. No matter how small a man is, never disrespect him. A man that is available to do what your current version will not do because of how wealthy you think you are, that's a man you should respect even more than any other person. Respect those that clean your house. Respect those that clean your toilet. Respect those that clean your office. All those people doing the dirty job, respect them. If they are not there, you will do it. They are the reason why you are looking very clean. They are the reason why you think you are a king. Do you understand? Without subjects, what are you? You're just a normal person that will still go until the ground. I hope you guys are getting what I'm saying. So in establishing the men sponsorship, you must accept that all men are in need. So as much as these people have gone ahead of you, take note of this. Find what they need and build yourself to become the solution. The moment you become the solution, you will never lack their sponsorship. Do you understand what I'm saying? No matter how wealthy a man is, there is still something he needs. Find out that thing that he needs, no matter how small it is, be available to address it, and you will not lack his resources. We're talking about the men's sponsorship. So let me pick someone here. Let's say Mr. Raphael Adetunji, God bless you, you're a wonderful person. Mr. Raphael is talking to his friend, a business, and I'm trusting God by faith. I believe I am going to raise 3 million naira. That's fine. God makes you visible to men. Those men make allocations to you so you can become visible. So Mr. Ditunji is like, you know, I'm trusting God for 3 million and everything. And while he's saying all of those things, he prays about it. He's putting his business proposal together, doing what. And then all of these people that he has in his life that represent demand sponsorship, he begins to talk to them. So, you know, I'm trusting God to start my business. This is my business idea. You know, I would please watch this. Listen to what I'm saying. Don't ask them for the money yet. Ask for their mentorship if possible. In fact, if possible, give them the position of the chancellor of your business. See, give them an office that compels them to respond, because all men were designed in pride. A random man sitting under a tree will feel very good when he knows he's the chancellor of that university there. Give them an office that compels them to respond. Sir, with due respect, sir, I don't know if you can just be like the chancellor of my business. What's your business about? It's about this. How far have you gone? This, what we have done. We've implemented this. We've done this. We've done. Watch this. Never ask them for the resources yet until you have shown that you are a responsible person. And how do you show you're a responsible person? By raising the little widow's mite that you've got and using it to start. You have to start before you ask. So this is where we are now, you know, and then it's like, oh wow, that's wonderful. Tell me more about it. And while telling him about it, you know, this, that. So what do you guys need for so and so? If we're able to have this, in fact, sir, at this stage, I think, what do you think? Because we're looking for an investor. Whoever can invest in this, we really don't mind giving him up to 15% of the business. And then he said, okay, but I don't think you need an investor now, but we still need about 1.5 million to address so and so. And the man says, oh, okay. All right, so don't worry about the 1.5 million, all right? Just do this. Look, the man may not give you 1.5 million. If the man gives you a counsel that saves you 1.5 million, that man has still given you 1.5 million. It is not everything that translates to cash. If the 1.5 million does not hit your account, it's like yes. No, listen to what he's saying. He said, no, you could do it like this. You could do it like this. Look, why not do what he said, right? First, if it fails, take the transcript of your performance to him. Let him judge and see that what he has said didn't work, and then he can commit to it. Let me tell you this. Relationship gives speed to the promises of God. Because when God said, I will do it, he makes men available. It is amazing how that while you trust God to make this available, you have grown in his principles to have men in your space. By the grace of God, our business school will start. By the grace of God, very soon. I was talking to a professor in the US. You know, he currently works with the governor of a state in the US, and he's been a professor of one of the universities for many years. Look, just listen. Relationship is a better currency than that money you're asking for. There are people that would sell every relationship for just 1,000 naira. Calm down first. There are people here watching. You can't afford to lose anything. You just want to be profitable. You cannot stand any loss. God will not give you what you are not willing to lose. We are here because we've lost so much, but we are still standing. So I was talking with the professor, and I told him about our vision. And he said he's going to speak with some of his professor colleagues. I think about 5 of them also. He said all of the things that we need, since it's a business school, that he will make himself available. He will speak with them. They will make themselves available to ensure that whatever is necessary to make this business school stand out, they will make it available to us. Now let me ask you this question now. How much will it take to get 1 hour of that professor's time? Then multiply it by 5. So let's say that an hour of that professor's time, let's just say an hour of that professor's time is $100. And we need 30 of that hour. Now multiply it by 5, that's 150 hours. Then you now multiply it by 30, then by 100. That gives you 50,000 American dollars. Let me tell you what that means. You see, those professors are available to give us those things when we could have paid $15,000. You need to understand that they have given us $50,000 by we not spending $15,000. That concept is called spirit currency. Go and look for that video. I did a teaching on that part 1. I'll still do a teaching on part 2. Then I spoke to a senior friend of mine, and she looked at me. She said, Kai, she said, this structure opposite my campus here, because she runs an institution, a very big complex. She said, I saw it to your business school. Use it for however long you need. Knowing nothing, just, in fact, go put your something there, Scova's business, just start working on it immediately. Let me know what you need. How much would I have spent to rent that kind of property for our business school? Someone sold it to us for as long as we need. Do you guys understand how spirit currency works? The same amount I would have used have been given to us. So it means we have spent that. Take note of this. If my relationship can command what your money will buy, then you are not worth more than I am. So if you had to buy it for $15,000 and my relationship summoned it, I am also worth that amount. Relationship, one of the vital ingredients in spirit currency. Are you guys following what we are saying? Demand sponsorship. What did I have to do for these people to commit their time and their resources to my vision? It's no longer my vision because it's more than me as a person. What did I have to do? One of them wanted to start a university, and then she called me immediately. She said, I have decided to start my university, and the first name that came to my mind is Christian Iluga. Can we work together to make this university possible? You know, I just smiled on the phone and I said, Father, I thank you because you have grown me. That's all I said. And I said, no problem, whatever you need, man, I am there to give. Do you understand what that means? So when I stand up now and I tell you that in the next 2 days, I should do this, both from the realm of God and from the realm of men, I have been sponsored. So it means if I want more, I keep investing to grow in God and to grow in men. So remember, all men are in need. Find what they need and represent that arm of their life for a solution. Because the moment you become a solution, their wallet will be generous to you. So are you walking just confessing? You can confess for as long as you desire. But if you don't have a solid relationship with God and you don't have a solid relationship with men, you are stunted. A child that is stunted will still age in number, but there will be no physical expression that shows that this child is actually so and so age. Imagine a man of 40 as short as a child of 3. Of course, the parents can bear witness, but who else will bear witness? There is no evidence. What's the evidence that you are 40? By looks, you look like 40. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of what's not seen. Oh, our time is fast spent too, and I have not even started. Let's call this Understanding Faith Part 1. Let me bring this session to a close. I need to read a passage for you guys. James chapter 2, verse 17. After Hebrew, we have James. Let me just read that very fast. In James 2:17, the Bible said, even so, faith, if it had no works, is dead being alone. Now, do you understand why I said the role you must play in another man's life? In the dimension of God, the role you have to play is obedience. Obedience is the key that gets God's attention the most. In fact, the only key that gets God's attention. Because if God finds a man that obeys, he's generous to that man to a fault. Look at the wealth of Solomon. Look at the wealth of Abraham. And not a few. Look at David. Look at all of these people. You think they were the best? No, they were men. But when God makes you visible to a man, the Bible says, even so, faith without works is dead being alone. So take note of this. When I now say, you remember I talked about the God faith and I talked about the man faith. So we've addressed the God faith, we've addressed the man faith. But what's the third dimension that is necessary to establish your faith? Your work. Number one, grow yourself. Invest heavily in education. Number two, look, Acts chapter 1 verse 8, the Bible said that ye may receive power. There are two important ingredients you need to become the man you desire. Number one, light. Number two, power. Light, the beauty of light is the ability to see. Without light, you can't see me. Light is how you are able to see me. The light you see is proof that there was darkness. Which means if this light goes, the default state of a man is darkness until light is introduced. So it means if men will walk with you, you must give them sight. Men can only walk towards what they can see. So take note, if you don't give sight to men, they don't walk towards you. A man that can't see what you are saying will not respond with his resources. And the only way you can make a man see is to be educated enough to become a light. Because if you're a light, you can transfer it to another. If men can see what they are saying, they can easily tell their friends of what they have seen. Are you guys getting what we're saying? So what's your work? In order to build faith, number one, you must have education. So your own work in validating faith requires, number one, education. Number two, empowered understanding. Number three, acceptance that you need help. Number four, study history and patterns. Because for you to predict a man, you must have studied him enough. Every man operates. You spend time with me, you can see the patterns. My lifestyle can be easily predictable if the information that makes for pattern discovery is made available to you. Number 4, trust. Trust. Number 5, the willingness to participate. Number 6, you must have the. Are you guys even understanding what I'm saying? Do you guys understand? Now, the Bible now said, with faith comes believing, and believing in the word of God. So take note of this. Faith can never be built until there is a spoken word. The only thing that gives sight to men is words. It means if you are not careful with how you speak, you either make men see or you make them blind. If men are not responding to what you are saying, you didn't give them sight. That's why they are not responding. Because if you give sight to men, men only walk towards what they can see. So if you give them sight, they will respond. If you make them blind, they will remain stagnant. I don't feel bad when people are slow to respond. When a man is slow, it's a revelation that I need to grow. I retreat back into my secret place and I begin to spend time with the word. What am I not knowing? What did I say that shut this man's eye? Why is he not seeing what I am saying? I pray that God will give you guys understanding. If you say you're a man of faith, you must be sponsored. Your sponsor must be greater than your confession. Because if the person that locks that door is greater than who sponsors you, that door will never open. That's why people come and they stand. I remember when I was in 100 level, this lecturer looked at me and he said, "You are not going to pass this course." And I missed the CA. And the exam, to be honest, I didn't know anything about that course. Something about nationalism, all these national kind of issues. I applied for engineering. I didn't know we were going to do some government, nationalism, constitution, something. So after the exams, I knew I was not going to pass it. Humanly, I knew that I was not going to pass that one. So we went in the night. I told my friend, we went to his office in the night. We laid hands on his door, we prayed, and then we left. Look, let me tell you this. If I had written ECA, I would have passed. But I missed his CA, right? And everything, he gave everyone makeup except me. He said, you are not, just go, forget about it. So we laid our hands on the door and then we prayed. When our result came, I didn't check other courses. I just went straight for that one because I knew I was going to pass the rest. How did I know I was going to pass the rest? Faith requires your work. It means if I didn't work, I am not authorized to confess. I am not authorized to have that kind of faith. You don't confess things until you've developed yourself to work the work that brings the manifestation. He said, by faith, I am a mathematician. And I give you a simple quadratic equation and you can solve it. You are not a mathematician. You are an embarrassment to the integrity of God. So God now on his own, because he must defend his integrity, knowing that you are very terrible with math, he now gives you A1. Then now you go and give testimony. I had A in maths. There's one problem. There's another person there that wants to learn maths. So the person brings his work to you. So who did you a favor by permitting you to fail that maths? Because if you had passed it and you go out to tell people about it, and those people come to meet you, there will be a problem. Then now you begin to embarrass God. Why? Because you have not worked yourself to know the maths. So you start embarrassing the God that you said gave you all of these things. But in this case, I missed the CA. And he told me to my face, I'm not going to whatever. Because I read for the course. As annoying as the course was, litigating constitution and all, we read everything. But that exam was not sufficient to give me the grade. So I went and I had a B in that course. That's a testimony. Why did God make that available? It's easy. Because if I had written this, I would have passed the course. I would not be in his office to their hands. I will bless the works of your hands. It means if you are not working, God will not stick his head out to defend you in any ways. take note of this. It is in a place of work that you will find the revelation that gives you the wisdom to present yourself before men that will give you favor. I hope you guys are blessed. Let's call this understanding faith part 1, because we can't really finish this and our time is fast spent already. Say this prayer after me. Say, Father, help me to grow in you so that you can trust me enough to defend my confession. Then, Father, help me to grow in wisdom and knowledge to the point where men seek me. But I pray that as they confess this, you make it possible for them. Help them to go to the point where people great they had already attracted the people they wanted to very much. Give them favor with you and give them favor with men. Make them visible to men so that men can help them to become visible. Give them a testimony of access. In Jesus' name, amen. I love you guys from the depth of my heart, and I'll see you guys on the WhatsApp. Bye, everyone.